If you're just joining us, welcome. My name is LB. I'm the founder and president of Factor 8. And today we're talking about what to do to get training to stick and to really truly drive behavior change. And we've written this from the enablement or training leaders' point of view and the revenue leaders' point of view. I'm sharing 30 years worth of experience here in an acronym we're all going to retain and be able to use. This is not just for trainers. So if you're a sales leader, as I see in here, please send this to your training team. If you're the training team, pull these tips out and send it to the revenue teams so that they can help align with what you're doing. One more ask. Tell us where you're from if you haven't. Tell us your role or job title if you haven't. And then type in a number for me. How many shots have you been to before? Because I love it when we get newbies in the house. Any shot virgins? If you are, 2-second credibility slide. This is Factor 8 and some of the brands that we're really proud to have partnered with. 80 industries over the last nearly 20 years, which is nuts. I'm also really proud to welcome Gong to this month's shot. Everybody knows who Gong is. If you use Gong or have in a past life, type Gong in the chat for me. I know you've got 10 assignments, work with me. But this is what's cool. You know that they're the #1 AI operating system, right? And they power the entire revenue engine and cut down on so much manual work, right? For reps, for managers, for trainers. The truth is at Factor 8, we use recorded calls during training, and it's a huge part of what we do. So we always are looking for companies that are working with Gong because you can so quickly pull up what you need to coach. You can so quickly pull up and listen to the call right where you want to. And they're, I don't know, how many members strong now? How many customers? Like 5,000, like more than half of the Fortune 10. So grab the link on the slide, gong.io, to see what's new with them because their AI stuff is really, really cool. And for my shot virgins, 5. This is great. Look at all our Gong users. Oh, Chris, you're my newbie. Love it. Thank you. We do these every month. We toggle between tactical rep skills, sales manager skills, and enablement skills. So please go out right now to factor8.com/shots, and you can register for some of the next ones. And while you do that, here's my PSA. Shots are fun, free, informative, fast-paced, tip-rich, but they're not training. And you're about to find out why and see what part of the sticky training acronym it does not incorporate. So I hope you get a lot of fun ideas from this, but the really key points, I'm going to invite you to come and get the training instead. Quick tip for my bigger team leaders out there, for my strong enablement team leaders out there. At the end, I'm going to be telling you about our Everboarding program, which is something we're doing that honestly, I hope breaks the training industry. We've all done it before where we hire, Challenger to come in to do the 2-day training. We get the same workbook, maybe one customized role play, and everybody goes through the same training. And I hate it. I hated it when I was an enablement leader. I hate it as a vendor. And so our new model, we literally give the enablement team the keys. Train the trainer and soft copies of workbook materials that they get to customize themselves. Nobody else is doing it. So if that's interesting because you have a lot of curriculum to build in a short amount of time and you're trying to build it internally and wish you could better customize some outside expertise, grab this QR code because we're going to do an in-depth look at that. I think it's next week. 20 minutes, just information only. Here we go. Shot number 1. Let's all have some fun. Line them up. Starts with an R. Are you ready? If you want behavior training to stick, behavior change training, right? That's the goal. You start with R for results. So take your notes like an acronym, right? Big R stands for results. If you can't measure it, you shouldn't train it. And I'm speaking to sales leaders and training leaders. And sales leaders, like my revenue friends, it means you don't get to diagnose things on your own always. Okay? I can't tell you how rich I'd be if I had a dime for every time somebody said, I need negotiation training. I know that's what you think you need, but your problem's further up the funnel in value building and discovery every single time. But if you can prove to me that it's negotiating with a KPI or a metric, then I can build backwards to deliver the right solution to you. Training leaders, if you want to be taken seriously, and I know it's so hard partnering with revenue leaders sometimes. Jen, you're so lucky. It's get the baseline first, okay? 80% of the training I see out there can be fluff, right? Like managers who coach on tone. When you start with the baseline metric, we're trying to move the needle, that goes away, right? Then we find the tactics that move the needle for that behavior and get that result, right? So how do you know what to measure? This is especially true for my training folks out there. My newer managers, right? We might know things like dials, but what are the early indicator KPIs? Stop guessing and grab the QR code here. There are 60 plus metrics you can measure by role. And I'm not saying you should measure all of them. I'm saying if you're an enablement leader and you're having a meeting with revenue saying, okay, you want negotiation training, what metric are we trying to move? And they give you a blank look. Go grab a couple from this list because people stink with a blank sheet of paper. Okay. If you can come in and say, hey, are we looking at discount rates? Are we looking at average order value? Are we looking at lines per quote? If you can give samples like that, it gets people thinking and boy, revs up your credibility as well, right? Makes sense. So grab that from the QR code, right? Or factor8.com/metrics. I've also posted it in my LinkedIn profile. But you can identify what's working and what's not. You can focus those coaching efforts. And of course, the hard part always for training and enablement, you get to quantify your impact. So here's just a couple examples for you. And I've kept the QR code up here. Let's say somebody comes to us because they've got low dials or really short calls. That's the kind of info we want from you, sales leaders. What's happening today that concerns you? Well, we translate them. All right, when somebody says, I'm not getting enough outbound phone calls, okay, I need to work on this phone confidence. I need to work at top of funnel. We're talking something around prospecting here. Now I go and listen to calls, identify some of what's missing, and prescribe the right training. What if my calls are really short? That means I've got low customer engagement. I'm going to be looking at our questioning. I'm going to be looking at if I'm reading scripts. I'm going to be looking at if I'm pitching too early and turning people off. I'm going to check the intro or the brush off. If we're talking about stage 1 conversion, same thing. I'm probably fast pitching. I'm not doing enough discovery. I'm not doing enough follow-up questioning to really engage the customer. I'm not going to go through all of these. Those are just 3 examples, and it all starts with the metric. Good? Get the download. Don't use a blank sheet of paper. Even if you're not picking the right metric, you can start by offering 1 or 2, and it might jar some ideas. Are we ready for number 2? That is R, results. I'm not telling you the acronym ahead of time because I'm going to see who can guess it. Okay. We are now at letter number 2, E, your second shot. Are you excited? To make behavior really change with a training initiative, you need executive buy-in. Okay. That's what this stands for. E is executive buy-in. So let's talk about this. It's critical in a few places. And it's okay if you're giving them the playbook along the way. Let me get you the checklist here on the next screen. The little thing was if they don't believe, nothing gets achieved. And they can believe for a minute and then fizzle out. That happens a lot. All right. So first of all, we get the executive buy-in at the sign-off. The prioritization of the training. How important is it? What are the KPIs we're going to measure? What's the budget that I get? We know we have to engage them then, right? So it's going to cost them money. They're going to pay attention. Then at Factor 8, we pull them right into our kickoff. We do a leadership level kickoff and we ask them to lead it. Then we do a manager level kickoff and we ask them to lead it. We ask for executives' help requiring that managers attend the rep training with their reps and requiring that their managers are coaching on the skills afterwards. So if you're unfamiliar with us, we don't do the regular 2-day thing. We train over time. You'll see that a little later in the acronym so that there's time to build habits between skills, kind of one skill at a time. Then let's all focus our coaching efforts there. You got to build this into your process of regular engagement with the executive. We ask the executives to talk about their rep development or the training initiative in their manager meetings. We ask them to roll up results. All the executive has to do is say, how are your reps performing against the training? Can you show me their measurable improvement? And man, have we lit a fire underneath our frontline sales managers. Then we do a quarterly results review, right? With our clients, the executive who signed it and right, the other leaders who are engaged. You can do the same thing. They're your internal client. At this point, we measure how things are going. We get feedback. We get new direction. And we recently, thank you, Tom at Infinity, had a client ask us for a manager scorecard. Hey, which of my managers are the most engaged? Which of their teams are the most engaged? Are they showing up? Are they participating? Are they taking the e-learning? Are they using the tools? Hallelujah! That's a fantastic leader, right? Yours may not ask for it, but give it to them anyway. You're going to pull through that executive engagement. We've got an R. We've got an E. If anybody knows what it is right now, it's worth 200 points. If you want to guess the acronym before I unveil T. I'm going to answer your question, Ed. No, we're not certifying for this because this is a webinar, not training. Okay. And you're going to learn more and more about the difference as we go through this. The third T shot is T, and that stands for tactical. Theory sucks, folks, and 80% of training that you're buying off the shelf is theory. And it's cool ideas. It tells you what to do and why. Tactical training tells you how to do it and when. Okay, that is a big difference. There's a lot of things we can do to get really tactical, like using recorded calls from Gong right in the middle of the training. Play it. If you have people who are kind of tuned out and don't think they need this training, play one of their calls. They buy in pretty quickly. I know everything about discovery, really, because we heard you ask all of 0 calls or 0 questions. All right, use real messaging samples, right? Really customize role plays. Get the voice of the customer in there, getting tactical. Here's a couple other ways that we can move the needle, right? When somebody says, oh, we need to uncover deeper needs in our sales training. All right, well, our workshop should probably dig right into what are the top 10 questions that we're asking and how do they align to our differentiators? Now that's tactical. It's not what's an open question and how and why should we use them. It's using real information of what's happening and how they're going to use it. When someone talks about building value, I hear it all the time. We can talk about the theory of value. We can talk about what customers value. We can talk about why we should talk about value. Or you can dive into your specific differentiators, translate those features and functions into customer values, and then translate those into questions. Now that is tactical training that reps can use. Want to go further? Play an actual call and have the rep raise their hand when they could have or should have inserted one of those value questions. Now you've got exactly what to ask and when. Cool? All right. Last thing about tactical training, just a couple other thumbs up ideas. The recorded calls. Yes, the custom role plays. Yes, you can take a picture of this slide. Small skills, super specific. Sample messaging. All right. It also means you need some subject matter expertise with your trainer or your coach. Why? Because somebody who doesn't understand sales is going to have trouble coaching that question that they just came up with, right? Or coaching that sales call. And call calibrations, love that. If you're teaching a tactical skill, then let's listen to calls and all agree on what good sounds like. And you do that by scoring. Everybody gets the score sheet. We give out a specific sheet per skill. You can and should do that too. Okay, we're all listening just for value questions. There's 5 questions on the sheet. We listen to the same recorded call using Gong and we all score it. How did we differ? Where did we differ? Why did we differ? It's going to help you align. Good? All right. Can anybody guess what our acronym is yet? RET. The next one is A. Attaboy. On your 4th shot. Accountability is for application. A stands for application. Oh, Chris, you're damn close. Application accountability. Mind the gap. If anybody traveled through London when they were young, right? That's what the tube always says. You're minding the gap between the classroom and real life on the sales floor, right? Or on the headset or whatever you call it. Whew. You could have amazing stuff. Today, I hope you take 5 pages of notes. The hardest part is getting those ideas off the notebook and into the call. Application. It's why when we come on site, we'd like to do live calls during the training. I'm not going to wait for you to decide this is a good idea. Write your own script about it. Remind yourself, put up a Post-it note. Think about practicing it in the middle of the call and then doing it again and again and again until you create a habit on your own. This is why it doesn't stick, folks. Okay? The human brain is hardwired in 5 different scientifically proven ways not to change. So the only shot we have in building new skills long term is to guarantee people are applying it immediately and for a few weeks afterwards until we build a habit. Okay? How do you drive accountability? Here are some ideas. You can take a picture of this slide. Hell, let's use those executives, right? People know where to focus based on what leaders are talking about, which is why it's so hard sometimes, sales leaders, when you say, I really want to improve this skill, but then you never talk about it again. And I get it. Skills are not deals. Skills are not on fire. But when we say how we treat the customer and build value is so critical to us, but we only talk about KPIs, it's a mismatch. Okay. So when you say it's critical that we do this and you talk about it in every team meeting or email or internet or whatever it is, it makes a difference. Follow-up sessions with recordings. So we do that after every training. We apply right away in class. Then they're leaving with homework to apply. And in a week, we come back. And every single person knows they're going to be asked to bring a call recording of them applying the skill. Right? You only fail at that once or twice. So that accountability in a follow-up session, live practice can do it. Sales huddle celebrations. Hey, managers, we give them this tool that says, who can tell me how they applied this last week? How about a sales huddle calibration? Let's play a call and everybody talk about how it's going. Can you move this skill into the manager's call coaching that's happening that month? Can we get results and engagement reporting given back to people? Like I just told you about the manager scorecard. How about rep scorecards? Contests are my favorite way to get people to do things, right? There's immediate payoff. Great reps are money motivated, right? We call them coin operated. So give them a contest. What about if you've got a gamification board, right? It's fun to see a celebration, but the mistake we mostly make is that the game board celebrates the same damn thing every single day, week, and month. Can you incorporate skills into that? Can you pull it into people's performance one-on-one? So if you don't know us at Factor 8, we're really well known for the tool stack in the sales bar. And it's all built for sales managers these tools are making it fast and easy to bring the skill into the one-on-one, into the huddle, into the call coaching. Because I used to spend all weekend preparing for a sales manager meeting, right? Now the tool is right there and it aligns with the skills. All right, here we are so far. RETA. Chris, we're going your direction. You know what's next. That's interactivity. Interactivity. Only interactive is retained. Okay, this is why we used flashcards growing up. Not rereading, recalling. When you recall, you build the neural pathways. Telling you, it's why this isn't training. This is one way. And I'm trying to get y'all to interact with me a little bit on chat, but you're not going to retain most of this later. Okay, but I'm doing my best. So if all you have access to, if you can't hire a professional trainer and you can only use webinars and videos, right? Low cost, no cost, do an add-on to it. Meet with your team after this and practice some things, right? And obviously this one's more for theory and strategy than a specific sales tactic. But when you interact with it is when you retain it. I have a client right now who's like, why do I always have to meet in groups? Aren't you supposed to just tell us what to do? And my team came to me and said, LB, what do we do with this? Like, well, they don't know what good training is and they haven't experienced that in the past. And I get it because what we do takes longer and it takes more effort and it can put people out of their comfort zones. Much faster and easier if you just tell me what to do. Problem is, I know you're not going to do it. So help me out with these numbers, everybody. Interaction time. What percentage of new information is forgotten within a day? What percent of this are you going to remember tomorrow? Hi, Leah. Hi, Meg. Nicole nailed it. Thank you, dear. Yep. 50% is forgotten within a day, but some of your stats here are right on, Heather. 90% is gone within a week. So my acronym may live, it may die. You may remember that it is retain, there's more coming, but may not remember what each of those pieces mean, and that's okay, right? That's the truth of the matter, right? We got to interact with it. So I even hate the definition of teaching, and I hate what ends our mind about teaching, right? Does anybody else remember this scene from college? Does anybody remember anything from these lectures, right? In college? Video webinars, lectures, it's one way it's telling. I have a quick funny story to share with you. What's going on with my mouth today? I apologize. Do videos really teach, right? You can get a lot of video-based stuff out there, and it's interesting. You're just not going to retain anything from it. And here's my funny story that you might remember. My son was 9 years old, and his birthday was coming up, and I'm like, hey, do you think maybe you want to take some skateboard lessons? And DJ goes, nah, Mom, I already know how. Surprise face. Really? Because you don't even have a skateboard. And honest to God, straight face, he looks at me and says, I watched a YouTube video. So I'd like to upgrade our definition of teaching to facilitation. So my training people, you know what I'm talking about. I define facilitation with an image we do remember from college, that red Solo cup, baby. You got to connect, you got to use, and you've got to practice to really retain and make interactive training work. Okay? Facilitation, interaction beats the forgetting curve. My trifecta, the 1, 2, 3 punch to really make it stick. You start by presenting a video, a lecture, a telling people what's important, the executive kickoff, there's your E. Then you facilitate, there's your I, make it interactive, there's the cup, right? Connect, use, and practice. Then your application accountability happens with coaching afterwards. Present, facilitate, then coach. We're almost done. Our next one, you knew it was coming, is N. Next, there's 3 more. N stands for nuanced, and that's because customized doesn't start with an N. So nuanced means make it fit. One size can't fit all. The truth is we're all in such information overload that people don't come into training looking for ways to apply it. They look for ways it doesn't apply, right? I've had people take our super interactive e-learning in the sales bar and say, yeah, but it doesn't say anything about the insurance industry. Like, no, that part we've got to customize afterwards in the live training. Okay. We're looking for ways that it doesn't apply to me because my brain doesn't want to change. The more you can customize your delivery, the more there's a fit, the more there's less of a roadblock, the smaller the gap we just talked about. Where's the gap? Between the classroom and the sales call. It's the application gap. If you can make it super customized, that gap shrinks. So how and where do you customize? First of all, what itself is taught. When you have a 12-hour, 2-day standard training class, I just hate it. So we tore that up and turned everything into mini modules. This one doesn't apply to you, don't come. Okay? It gives you so much more flexibility in building a custom plan. What order says a lot as well. The recorded calls help you customize with the voice of the customer. The role plays can do that. And of course, calibration and coaching as well. So customize as much as possible. And I get it. This is why there's a build versus buy dilemma, right? You want it customized, which means you have to develop it internally. But do you have the time, the bandwidth, and the expertise? Quick pitch for my Everboarding model. We've solved that for you. So stick around and learn more about that. Almost done. We've got RETAIN. 2 more. It's embed. E. Guess what? It's retained. The next one's coming. E means embed. So how can you, and then I'm jokingly saying with at least two beds, embed with other things, okay? Because what fires together wires together, right? You've heard that about the brain before. What can you embed in your sales skills training? Well, how about systems at the same time? How about when we're doing a role play, we're including the product information? How about we use a live recorded call, pause it, pretend we're the rep with what they say next, and do it in the system at the same time, right? Because listen, customers don't give us multiple choice. We have to use all the skills at the same time. And of course, my favorite is use gong, use gong, use gong, because the recordings make all the difference. If you don't know already, my favorite thing is called the pause game. And we don't have time to do it now, but I bet you could find that blog on our resource page on Factor 8. The other place you're going to embed is with other tools, my friends. Okay. So if your training outcome is, I want them to ask 5 to 7 open-ended questions, right? So to get our customers better engaged. But your metric scorecard is demanding, a 2.5-minute handle time. And your call quality form is asking for BANT and nothing else. We have a problem, don't we? Okay. It's that lack of alignment that can also kill skills. And it happens with managers and what they're coaching to. It happens with QA. It happens with our conversational intelligence tools. It happens with our metrics. It happens with our systems. You got to go and learn about all of those things to make sure it aligns the behavior change you're trying to invoke. You can also embed with other departments. Okay. We just got done rolling out 5 modules at an environmental services company that made a massive needle change, right? In our customer resolution, in our conversion, in our net new business. Fantastic. All right. Well, that's with the existing floor. But like a lot of call centers, there's high turnover. That needs to go backwards and embed into new hire training. It needs to go forwards and embed into different career paths. Who are the people and where are they working right now who want to get into this job? Boom, take this training first. So we're doing ourselves a favor in keeping our skills alive long-term across the company. It's how it doesn't die, right? In later days. Bonus, always embed with the manager. So if you're doing, let's say, new hire training and you've got some testing in there, great job. I say your final test should be the manager grading the role play. And the first time they do it, they're going to be like, well, this isn't what's important. And you're going to be like, I've been asking you for months to tell me what's important. But this is how you get that alignment, okay? We make that easy for managers. This is some of the tool set I was telling you about. Each skill has a form. You can load this right into your CI tool or bring a piece of paper to your meeting. That second one is a cheat sheet because the manager is not always the expert in what you taught, especially if they didn't pay attention during training. So this tells them what to watch for, what to celebrate, and literal questions to ask. The next one is an example of activities, contests, etc. we give managers so that they can support things in the huddle. All right, last one in retained is deliberate. Okay, say you're done with training events. Here we go, interactivity time, pop quiz. Why do training events fail to be retained? A, B, or C? Lee, I like your answer. Thank you, everybody, for being here. You have to hop. The answer absolutely is all of the above, but it's really about that forgetting curve. So slow your roll. Roll training slowly over time, right? We like to engage one at a time for quite a few months. All right, if you've gotten to the end, I'm telling you here about managers being the multiplier. I just want to move forward a little bit. If you're struggling to get managers to coach, it's probably because you haven't taught them to coach. So I've got a QR code where you can save your seat to a cohort. So if you've got less than 5 frontline managers, it doesn't make sense to bring somebody in or build a program, send them to a cohort. And this one starts in July. By the way, your managers will thank you. They're asking for more coaching. It was in their top 3 in our survey, and your leaders will thank you because it was at the top of the leaders ask. Yeah, nuts, right? If you're not sure coaching's the top priority right now, I pulled these two stats to convince you to grab the QR code and put your managers in. Thanks, Amy. I've got one other chaser for you if you guys can hang with me here. The chaser is about where AI can help. And I starred the different areas where you can pull in AI tools to help make this a little easier, from helping pull the right KPIs or analyzing the metrics, all the way to helping you craft more custom role plays. Good. And speaking of AI, Gong's tools do this, folks. They're evaluating rep performance and helping managers surface the coaching needs. What a way to push your skill and frameworks into Gong so it's surfacing the same thing so you have that alignment. And of course, they've also got the trainer and the role play in there, which I just think is really cool. So embed things in there because nobody see it. Nobody does it better than Gong. And we're going to drop in the chat. They have an ROI of sales enablement, how to prove impact resource for our enablement leaders out there. Thank you, Gong. We're always, always, always trying to do that. All right. If you got to jump but have follow-up questions, you can use this to book a meeting with us. If you just want to follow along and get some of these tips and tricks, the yellow one is my LinkedIn profile. And by now you're probably in one of three buckets, right? Like, I'm good. See you next month. Invite me to more of these. I invite you to follow on LinkedIn. For some of you who are new, you might be like, all right, this maybe isn't for me and my team, and that's cool. Thank you for joining us and trying us. And for those of you in the third seed saying, I need more of this, help me fix my training, or tell me more about how you can work with my team, I invite you to stay on or listen to the rest of this recording. I'm going to show you how in the next 10 minutes. But if you've got to jump, you can use one of those QR codes now. Thank you so much for being here. All right. So I just wanted to thank you, by the way, and say congratulations for staying on, because our research is telling us that there's a gap. Okay. Look at that. Very few leaders are confident right now in their sales training program. That scares me. That's not a good thing. Okay. And what frustrates them specifically is exactly what we were talking about. It's not that we're not doing the training, it's that they're not seeing the difference and they're not seeing the impact. So that can be frustrating, right? If you want to talk about that more, but you've got to jump, you can book a meeting with us, and happy to share more tips, take a look at your program, see if there's anything else we can do to help. So I wanted to share with you a couple real Factor 8 results. We train sales leaders, SDRs, AEs, account manager, customer success, inbound and outbound, service to sales. The thread through what we do is virtual. So the only time we work with field teams or retail teams is when they hire us to help those people use the phone to book more meetings and appointments. And we love when that happens. Okay. Companies find us for a couple key reasons. They need to build more outbound calling, confidence or muscle, right? It's just not happening. Reps are hiding behind email. They're maybe overly pitchy and have to shift to a value selling culture. They might just be young and fresh and lacking basic sales skills. Or there's a change. There's a new product, a new go-to-market, a huge goal, right? I got to tell you that revenue leaders find us because their enablement teams are too busy. They are busy with everything else in the company, or they just don't have the sales acumen. So those are a little bit about who we help, and I'll just tell you here how we do it. 3 different ways we work with customers. For our smaller teams, right, you've got under 15 reps, all of the tools and the interactive training that we use with Fortune 100 companies are available on the sales bar. You can buy a 6-pack, a certification, a subscription. Best case scenario, add a little monthly coaching to it. That keeps costs down. It's great for small teams. On the mid-market side, most outsource to us. We become their sales training team. We build a plan that works over the period of a year. And we customize that and throw the kitchen sink at making sure skills are applied and using our retained model. For our larger teams, this is the everboarding that I was talking to you about. If you've got a great enablement team who maybe just doesn't have the time to build a curriculum, doesn't have maybe the subject matter expertise in sales, but really wants to get involved, this is everboarding. So nobody else in the industry does this. It's like the magician who shows you how the trick is done. People safeguard their IP, right? You have to buy the workbook. You can't change it. You don't get access to it. They have to customize it. We partner with companies to train the trainer and give them all of the tools in the bar, as well as our workshop facilitation guidebooks in soft copy, which means they can customize and use unlimited across all different teams so that it grows with you. You're going to have different products and different role plays that you want to do in a couple of years. You're going to have a whole new set of new hires. You get the keys to the kingdom and nobody else does it. So if you want to learn more about that and ask some questions, it's less expensive than when we train for you. And I'm doing a special walkthrough about that next Thursday. Cool. So you can sign up for that using this yellow QR code. And I'll just end it here with the 3 different models. And if you'd like to book 30 minutes to chat with the team, it's a no pressure thing. Ask us questions, ask us for recommendations, kick our tires a little bit, anything you'd like to do. I'll leave those QR codes up for just a moment. And then I'll end with thanking Gong one more time.